Farmers are getting older. We take a closer look at the grain of rural Nebraska. The average farmer in this country is 58, and that number continues to climb. But as we know, it's a difficult time to go into farming. We've got a special report, plus neighbors coming together following a tragedy to bring in the harvest. It's time for NTV's Grow. Bringing Nebraska beef to tables across China. That's the purpose of Governor Pete Ricketts' trade mission to the Asian nation. The governor signed agreements with 9 businesses and restaurants to serve Nebraska beef and pork. As China gets ready to import its first purchases of U.S. beef in years, Ag Director Greg Ibaugh says Nebraska wants to be ready to take advantage of that opportunity. According to the governor's office, in 2015, Hong Kong was Nebraska's 6th largest export market. The agency responsible for inspecting cattle and investigating stolen livestock is getting a new leader. William Bunce, the executive director of New Mexico Livestock Board, will be taking the reins at the Nebraska Brand Committee. Bunce is replacing Sean Harvey, who resigned from his position after an audit raised some concerns about management in the agency. And Congressman Adrian Smith defending a Nebraska research center that was called into question by the New York Times. Smith says the U.S. Meat Animal Research Center is a world leader in animal science and has improved food safety by better understanding of E. coli and has improved animal health practices. Smith says he has toured Mark several times and says it's vital for the future of agriculture. HSUS called the facility a house of horrors after a New York Times outlined high mortality rates among livestock and other issues. An investigation found no wrongdoing. Cattle producers are busy in the fall phase, moving cattle, separating herds. Cow-calf producers, as you are weaning that cattle, it's a busy time, and there are a few things you want to make sure not to overlook, as this is a time for adjustments. And I had a chance to talk to a veterinarian, and here's some advice.
Ultimately, again, introducing those cattle to their new environment to lower their stress. The biggest drivers for response to an immunization is being properly hydrated, having sufficient energy resources to go ahead and mount that immune response. So it's simple, but creating a 5-star environment for those animals when they get in. Dry place to lay down, good access to high quality feed and high quality water.
So the main thing is keeping cattle comfortable, and you will see the profit from it in the long run. World-class rodeo athletes bringing in the competition to Grand Island. They're calling it Rodeo Grand Island, as Sutton Rodeo will produce a 3-day event this coming March at the Heartland Events Center. It'll feature top cowboys, the same ones who will be at the National Finals Rodeo, and it'll be nationally televised as well. With big-time prize money, promoters say it'll be a big addition to the circuit.
Yes, and it'll be a major stop. I mean, they'll all be coming, and as we grow this down the road, you know, it's going to get to be a stop that all the cowboys come to, not just the drafted ones.
There will be 3 days of events happening the first weekend in March, including ranch rodeo, bull riding, plus a trade show, and it's sanctioned by the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, people responsible for the National Finals Rodeo. Just like the State Fair and Husker Harvest Days, rodeo shows agriculture as a key part of Grand Island's tourism effort.
If you think about the agricultural culture that we have here in Grand Island with the livestock shows, the manufacturing, those types of things, a professional rodeo, it's kind of a matter of time, and I think that this is a great event.
As for crop conditions, now harvest activities made good progress. Many producers now just done combining. USDA reports with limited rainfall over the last month, dry soils were noted in a number of counties. Topsoil moisture rating 14%, very short, 38 short. For field crops report, corn harvested comes in 93%, sorghum 97% harvested. Winter wheat condition rated 35% fair and 48 good. Coming together after a tragedy. That's what the Sutton community is doing following a weekend's fatal farming accident. NTV's Jessica Stevenson spoke with the family and volunteers.
He's a pretty amazing guy. 60-year-old William Bill Hoffman passed away doing what he loved best, farming.
The Huffman family is a absolute icon in the farming industry in Sutton. Great role models, leaders. Bill was everybody's friend. He talked to anybody. He's a nice guy.
He was just an amazing man. He always had a smile on his face, and he just kind of lit up a room, and he was the biggest jokester you could find around town, and you know, people love that quality, and he was just very nice to everybody, and he would literally give anything to anybody, you know, the shirt off his back kind of guy.
These qualities inspired about 50 volunteers to finish Hoffman's harvest.
And I didn't have the chance to even ask anybody to help. We were still planning on doing the harvest ourselves, and there's a bunch of guys that just took over and just said, sit back and just watch it happen.
The volunteers harvested over 500 acres across 3 different fields.
They've been great family friends, and they would do it for us. That's part of being in a small community and just all working together.
And this outpouring of love and support is not going unnoticed.
I'm more shocked than anything. I'm kind of shaken and just unbelievable, you know, the amount of volunteers that just show up and just makes things happen and get it done.
The family believes their father is watching too.
He's probably smiling down right now and he's not shocked at all because he's just that kind of guy. But it would make him really, really proud. Very proud.
Jessica Stevenson, NTV News, Sutton.
These statistics are sobering. What passes as the average age in a farm would be retirement age in many other professions. NTV's Steve White has a special report on the graying of rural Nebraska.
Many small towns across Nebraska have been in decline. 63 of 93 counties have lost population since 2000. But amidst the troubles, there is hope.
The average age of our farmers and ranchers here in the United States is 58 years old, and that's increasing.
Across the plains, farmers like Lawrence Klein bring in the crop, as they've done nearly all their lives.
Well, I don't know, probably for 60, 65 years. Long time, I know that.
It's still fun though, right?
I enjoy it. There's a lot of things about farming that I enjoy.
In his mid-70s, Lawrence now works for his son, and 3 generations work together as his grandsons help at harvest, even the 10-year-olds.
That's pretty good, I think.
Generations will pass and then future ones will come.
Jeremy Kroger, too, got his start at a young age, and now at 21, he farmed 160 acres on his own this year.
Farming on my own there, and I'm also farming for Dad too.
Without a family to help, though, it's nearly impossible to get a start in agriculture.
I'm very fortunate to have the family I have and to have roots in farming already. I know that if you don't, yeah, it's very tough.
With commodity prices where they are today, where our beef prices are, where our pork prices are, it is very difficult today to get involved and to see a bright future where you can raise a family out on the farm and make it profitable.
The number 2 leader at the U.S. Department of Agriculture says the grain of rural America is a major concern.
We need the brightest and sharpest young people involved in agriculture to help us meet those challenges of feeding a growing population, but doing it in an environmentally friendly way and taking care of our natural resources.
For every young farmer like Jeremy, there are 6 over 65. Many will be retiring. The USDA says 10% of the land will change hands in the next 5 years, and many don't have a clear path forward.
There's a lot of guys who are getting older, and estate planning is very important at that role, and a lot of them, I don't even know if they have plans.
2/3 of government farm loans help young and disadvantaged producers. And while farm markets remain down, the cost of doing business remains high.
Equipment prices are sky high.
Ladies and gentlemen, get excited and get on your feet.
As the resurgence of FFA, once known as Future Farmers of America, shows, there's an emphasis on growing young people into agricultural careers. And ag-related programs have driven much of the enrollment growth at the University of Nebraska as well. But many farmers say this is a tough time to bring that next generation back. And Jeremy says he's one of the fortunate ones able to do what he loves.
There's nothing I like more than just being a part of Nebraska agriculture.
Our series continues Tuesday night. We find a family at peace, even as their family-owned business closes after more than a century, but they still have a strong belief in rural Nebraska.
We have part 2 of this series straight ahead. Stay with us.